welcome back, and it is time for today's tutorial. And as you can see, I was just feeling the spirit today. I was feeling the season, and I just had to channel my inner buddy. I don't think I've mentioned this either, but my sister has a special name for me around this time of year. She calls me the holiday cheermonger. Like, I get a little ridiculous. Yeah, like, guys, like, when I say I get a little ridiculous, I mean, like, I own almost every Christmas movie ever in the history of the world, part 1. And I'm talking about like all the old Rankin Bass, like The Year Without a Santa Claus, and Santa Claus Coming to Town, and Frosty's Happy New Year, and Rudolph's Shiny New Year, and all I'm ridiculous. But anyway, I thought I would let my inner Christmas freak flag fly today and just go all out holiday festive. So I hope you guys like this look. I actually created it using a couple of drugstore palettes, one new and one limited edition. But the first one is one of the new Magnify'Eyes Shadow Eye Contouring Palette from Rimmel. This is in the shade, or in the one called Grunge Glamour. I just used a couple of mattes in here, and I've got to say, I am still playing around with these, but from what I've seen of these palettes so far, they are pretty darn good, and they are at a great price point. They're like $8. And then I also decided to go with my Wet n Wild Hemporary Solutions. This was from like the Boardwalk Boozing collection that came out this past summer. And believe it or not, I have still seen these in CVS's and Rite Aids. It's like they didn't sell these out. So they're still hanging around. So keep an eye out if you're interested in this one. But I was like, I need a palette with a red and a green. This one did the trick today. So I was really happy with how this look turned out. I think it's a lot of fun. You know, the lip is definitely over the top. I'm not gonna lie. I'm eating glitter right now. But I've got to say, I'm pretty impressed so far. This is I used one of the Tattoo Junkie lip paints today with the coinciding glitter, and I think it's so much fun. All right, guys, I'm gonna stop rambling and talking just nonsense. I'm gonna get into the tutorial, but if you want to see how I created this very subtle, office appropriate, you know, dinner with your in-laws look, then stick around. I'll see you guys after. Alright guys, so we're gonna go ahead and get started today with the Urban Decay Primer Potion, and I'm just gonna spread that all over the eyelid. Alright guys, and with the Real Techniques base brush, we are going to go into this Rimmel Magnify'Eyes eyeshadow palette. This is in Grunge Glamour, and I'm going to pick up the lightest shade right there, which is just a really nice matte cream shade. And I'm just going to use that to set the primer. What's the matter, Sarah? And I forgot to do a step, and you probably want to do this before you put any shadow on your eye, but I'm going to go in with my NYX Jumbo Eyeshadow Pencil in Milk. Just put this all over the lid just to help, since we're using that white shade on the lid. This is just going to help kind of make it pop. Just taking a flat shader brush, and I'm just going to smooth that out. And now I'm going to go into my Hemporary Solutions palette, and we're going to pick up this white shade right here with that same brush. I'm just going to flip it over, and again, I'm just going to set that eyeshadow pencil with that shade. Alright, now that we've set that eyeshadow pencil, I'm going to go in with my Wet n Wild Fluffy brush. We're going to go back into the Grunge Glamour palette, and I'm going to pick up this mid-tone beigey shade, beautiful transition shade, really nice matte. And we're just going to start laying down our transition shade. This isn't really going to show up in the final look, but it's going to help blend out some of these harsher colors. Okay, and now for the fun part. I'm going to pick up a BR250 brush. We're going to go back into the Hemporary Solutions palette, and I'm going to pick up this red right down here. This is a nice matte red. It looks pretty, I would say, like a pretty neutral red in the pan, but once you start placing it on in the eye, in the crease of the eye, you can see it comes off almost like a pink. So really, really cool tone. So we're going to warm that up in just a minute, but I'm going to just start working this into the crease and just blending it up. Again, I'm just going to apply most of that color on the outer portion of the eye and then work it over. This palette is a really fun palette, and it's really, really bright. I just wanted to tone down some of the colors, or some of the colors just weren't completely 100% right. For, you know, what I was going for. So, but there's just a couple things we can do to really make them work for this look. So once that shade is down, we're going to go into this kind of orangey shade right here. It's more an orangey red in person, but on camera it kind of comes off a little bit more orange. So we're going to take that and we're going to just put that right over that first shade, and this is really going to warm up that red tone. I will say these are not the easiest colors I have ever worked with. However, that's kind of to be expected when you're working with a very, very inexpensive drugstore palette. I think they're great quality for what they are, so I'm not mad about it. But just know that there's going to be a little bit more work involved. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up a clean BR250 brush, and I'm going to drop my palette. So I'm going to go back into the Grunge Glamour palette, and I'm going to pick up that beigey transition shade again. And we're just going to kind of blend out these colors just to soften them up. Like I said, if you feel like you lose any intensity, you can always go back in with that original brush. I don't have any more product on it, but I'm just blending out and intensifying the color a little bit. And just going back in with the other BR250 and blending out. I'm going to pick up that Real Techniques base brush again and go into the white shade. Tap off the brush. And we're just going to run this right underneath the brow bone, and it's just going to brighten everything up. Just blend it down. Now we're going to work on the liner. So, and guys, if you're like me, liner is still something, I wear it all the time. I wear winged liner all the time, but I don't always 100% like the way it looks because I do have hooded eyes. It's like with the cut crease. It's something that I'm trying to perfect and practice enough to where when I'm comfortable enough to where I can just throw it on. So because I find myself needing a little bit of help, I'm going to use the tape method. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line this up, and I'm going to bring it out. Because I have hooded eyes, I have to bring out the tape a little bit farther, because if I put the wing going up right at the crease of my eye, it's going to hit that fold in my eye. So I have to bring it out a little bit farther and let it go a little bit more parallel rather than swooped up, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to go in with my cat eyeliner from Jordana and start creating that wing. Alright, so I'm going to remove that tape, and that actually is pretty even. I'm kind of happy with that. I thought it was going to be worse. See guys, even those girls that look flawless on Instagram, they still have bad wing days. Happens. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean that up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back over that liner with the Milani Stay Put Matte 17 Hour Wear Liquid Liner. This is new. I like it. I like the actual product. I'm not a big fan of the felt tip. It's very stiff and it's not good if you have crepey eyelids like I do. But the actual product is really good. So I like it to mattify my wing. Alright guys, once that liner's on, I'm going to go in with just a small shader brush in that white shade. And again, just kind of reiterate, clean up in case any of the red got too far down. We do still want to keep that relatively bright. Now I'm going to take my Milani liquid like eyeliner pencil and just tightline and line my waterline. And if it's messy, that is okay. But what we're going to do is I'm going to go back in with a kind of more foresty green leaning on blue liner. This one is Mars from Urban Decay, because the greens in the palette are very, very bright, and I just want to tone them down just a little bit. Now I'm going to take a BRC S01 brush, and we're going to go into the matte green in the palette, which is this really pretty green right here. And we're just going to set that liner, smoke it out. And you can see how combining that green over that almost teal liner really kind of tones it down and deepens up the color. So if you don't have the most perfect color in a palette, you can alter it sometimes just by using some of these additional products, which is really cool. And then I'm going to take that same brush and we're going to go into the shimmery green just above it. I'm going to bring that down just a little bit farther because we want it to really pop on the lower lash line. So again, we're showing up that brighter green showing up, but it's not going to be crazy overwhelming. And guys, just to soften that up and smoke it out to make it look more natural, I'm going to take my BRC S06 brush and that beigey shade from the Grunge Glamour palette from Rimmel one more time. And again, we're just going to smoke it out. And I really find that when you're doing a smoky eye, kind of taking a skin toned or even your transition shade and running it underneath the eye like this really helps to smoke everything out so it's a lot more smooth, transitioned, and just beautiful overall. Pretty. Alright, for lashes today, I'm going to use my Colossal Big Shot Volume Express Waterproof Mascara from Maybelline. I'm just going to use that on the upper and lower lashes. Alright guys, for lashes today I'm going to be using my Cherry Blossom 119s. I just published a video last week on my tips and tricks for lashes for beginners, so if you are in need of maybe just some advice on how to apply lashes in a demo, I'll link that down below. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the rest of my face. So today for contour, I'm going to contour with my Hoola bronzer with my BRC S25 brush. I'm going to stop saying I like this when I just want to do something a little bit more kind of more bronzy than contoury. And a lot of times when I'm doing a bunch with the eyes, I don't necessarily like to go crazy on the rest of the face because it can just be too much. Plus we are doing some Christmassy lips today. This is just going to warm up my skin a little bit and give me some much needed color. For blush today, I'm going to do a combination of Coralista and Rockatuer from Benefit. I'm just going to kind of blend them together. I feel like this combination just gives me a really nice kind of rosy glow. For highlighter today, I'm going to use this one. This is a beautiful iridescent highlighter from Devinah Cosmetics in the shade Nixie, and it is gorgeous and it is intensities. But I'm using the e.l.f. small tapered brush. Taking a very light hand with this, and then build up as desired. I'm just going to take that right above the peak of my brow. Just kind of down the bridge of my nose. Just on the chin. Alright guys, we have got a lot going on the face today, so I just want to set it. So I'm going to go in with my new Milani Make It Last setting spray. I just got this from Walgreens, so we're going to try it out. Alright guys, we're going to have some fun today. Now you can do any kind of lip that you want. It would look really pretty with the nude. Of course I'm going to go over the top because I'm just not subtle. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the glitters from the Tattoo Junkie lip paint sets with a one of the new Mega Last Liquid Catsuit lipsticks. This is Missy and Fierce. It just, the two reds that I have from Lip Junkie, or the lip paints that I have from Tattoo Junkie, are just not doing it for me. This one is a little too bright, this one's a little too deep, this one's perfect, so we're just gonna go with it. Alright guys, I didn't like that actually, so I'm gonna go ahead and go in with the Tattoo Junkie shade, just the one in Pucker Up, which is just a really bright red. I'm gonna try and do this really quick so we can get the glitter on there. Okay, the trick is to get the glitter on before it dries. So I'm going to go in with the glitter and then I'll do my upper lip. Alright guys, this is the finished look, which I know I'm going to regret in about 5 minutes, but that's okay because I already have glitter all over my floor. But I'm going to go put some real clothes on, do something with my hair, and I'll be right back. Alright everybody, so this is the finished look. It is very bright, it's very fun. It just puts me in, it's putting me in such a good mood. Like I just really want to go downstairs and watch the Santa Claus, which I might do after this, in this makeup. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial using two very affordable drugstore palettes. Again, this is Grunge Glamour, but you can use any cream base shade and any transition shade you have. You do not have to use this palette. And then the Hemporary Solutions palette from Wet n Wild. And again, if you don't have these colors, whatever you have in your collection will work. But I really hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed creating this for you. Like I said, guys, I'm so excited that you guys are seeing these tutorials and being encouraged to try something different, or something that maybe you were frustrated with before, and go back and try it in a different way, because that's just the point of these. It's to encourage you to have fun, to build some confidence, and to really just explore what you can do with makeup, because it's so much fun. But if you did like this tutorial, be sure to check out my channel tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Eastern for the next one. But until then, guys, have an amazing day, have a rockin' week, and I'll see you next time.